Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. We open on a soggy college campus with our protagonist Christine talking to her friend about doodles. The art students return to their dorm room where Kris gets accosted in the doorway, but it's okay because this douchebag is her boyfriend. Michael says it's to get her primal endorphins flowing or some hogwash like that, but whatever floats your boat. By the looks of them, Mike has been hanging around their mutual friends from 2 doors down, Lisa and Scotty, a bit too much. The couples get it on either side of Jerry, who just sits there listening instead of talking to the hippie girl across the hallway. Robin believes in tarot cards, so I kind of understand, and in the morning Kris gets a call to say she's inherited a house from a dead relative. Michael's suspicious because Kris doesn't even have a family, but that doesn't bother the orphan, who just gathers up all of her unlikely friends. She tells them about the house, but they act like Kris just said she's visiting the Planet of the Apes by saying that she might not like what she finds. I've no idea why all of these people are so skeptical about getting a free property, especially one so sinister looking. It even has regular maintenance checks, however the workers keep getting killed before they've actually fixed the problems. Nobody wants to go with Kris, not even her boyfriend, who says that he needs this time to hit the books, and I assume he meant pop-up. He says to take Jerry, but Kris says that he isn't strong enough to protect her if things go down and would rather travel to the house alone. She just isn't thinking fourth dimensionally, as Jerry could be used as a human shield, but I think this dude should just get better friends. Just before reaching the house, Kris almost runs over one of those crazy harbingers spouting off about evil, so now she can't say nobody warned her. Arriving at the already unlocked property, she finds it still fully furnished and somehow containing hundreds of working light bulbs. I'm not sure what she was expecting, but Chrissy now wants to stay at a hotel, yet her car doesn't start. What a bummer. She's forced to stay the night in one of the rooms, where she gives us one of those will I or won't I pop it out moments, but decides to keep her dignity intact, causing the relatable mirror to get a little disappointed. During the night, while sleeping with her candlestick, Kris is haunted by the voice of a child asking for help. She goes to see what this kid's problem is, however when she reaches the little curtain-dwelling trespasser, she disappears. Finally, Kris realizes that she can use her legs to walk home, but is so shocked at her friends arriving that she forgets to leave. She half-heartedly tells them the house is haunted, but should be a lot more assertive with these future victims. Especially with Jerry, who accidentally releases a demon after centuries of being imprisoned inside the plumbing. The Devil's Lettuce gets blamed for everything, and when taking up their rooms for the night, Kris doesn't even say like hey stay away from the curtain or anything. She just bites her lip and endures more Chad talk from Michael about how she's safe now with her big bad boyfriend here for protection. That boyfriend who can't even prevent this mysterious stranger from squatting on the foot of their bed. It's about time that I mentioned Kris has memories of a past life wandering around some forest with a depressed child. The scenes have been completely pointless, but finally get interesting when needing to explain the creepy bed squatter from the basement. He's an unnamed demon warlock that we'll call Phillip, who has chosen this child as an offering to his buddy Beelzebub. He brings her to his sacrificial place of choice, and despite getting pushed over rather easily, Pilgrim Kris is the more powerful witch. She catches up and imprisons Phillip underground for all eternity, or at least until some idiot comes along and releases him. The movie also hints at the child's doll being important to the story, with the least subtle torturing of an eagle every time it's shown on screen. The next morning, Phillip knocks on the front door pretending to be an architect interested in the historical property. He weasels his way inside with the intention of sacrificing the descendant of the witch who imprisoned him all those years ago. She's told she could make a fortune off this place when some historian out of left field says actually it's worthless and you sir are a liar. No idea when this guy got here, but the warlock's a master of manipulation, whose tactics to just get the historian alone and rip out his throat. He then destroys letters meant for Kris containing crucial lore from her birth mother and stuffs the old dude in the attic. Our so-called master manipulator then really earns the title when he tells Kris that nope, haven't seen him, maybe history boy went home. She just lets the stranger hang out in her house and integrate himself with her friends over lunch, which is step 2 of his plan after escaping the drain. He learns that Robin is a second-rate spellcaster with a first-rate talisman around her neck, really protecting her from any harm. She's the only one suspicious of this lingering creep, while everybody else just thinks that it's normal for him to be hanging around. The next stage of the warlock's dastardly plan is to slip Kris the tongue before tormenting her with an epileptic light show. She's shown visions of her friends dead, then suddenly wakes up with Robin beside her and the taste of warlock in her mouth. Somehow she still doesn't believe her own best friend when she lays it out in plain English that this Phillip dude is an evil warlock. He just remains a permanent nuisance within the friend group because nobody believes the hippie chick for some reason. This allows Phil to manipulate Jimmy with a masterful performance when telling him hey do this thing for me, and the kid simply does it. While she's sleeping, the little traitor steals Robin's talisman, but then again these people treat him like crap anyway. Without her protection, Robin's cornered by the warlock, who has this whole thing of corrupting the friends, but it goes out the window with this one. She tries to use a spell but nothing happens, so just chucks what she couldn't levitate before getting wrapped up in a rug. This time she shouts and a shelf bumps Phil, causing his spell to break, which is the first time Robin has ever actually used magic. Unfortunately, it's also the last, as this potential final girl is turned into a glass statue and shattered by this peacock with the candlestick in the bedroom. Jerry's balls grew 2 sizes after stealing, because at lunch he stands up to Scott, but that doesn't go well, and again, why the hell are they even friends? Everyone comes to the conclusion that the missing girl has been meditating in a cupboard for the last 4 friggin' hours, so clearly they don't like her either. Kris says that's stupid and we should all split up to find her, but Lisa and Scott are all worked up about this apparent sexy torture device. While everyone else is searching for hopefully not the corpse of their friend, these two think it's a good idea to get their freak on. With Scott tied up, they've inadvertently made themselves an easy target for the Warlock, who makes himself at home. He then sends them to a hellish dimension where fetishes are dialed up to 11, but for this pair it's probably like a 3. Meanwhile, Kris comes across Robin's glass finger and you would think that the gig is up, but nope, she just pockets it and walks off. It takes her having to come across the dead historian along with duplicate letters from her mother saying that this dude is a warlock before she wises up. It makes no sense why he didn't turn the corpse into glass or a swing set in hell, and how he missed these papers conveniently laying out everything. A demon named Phil, the Warlock Architect, will turn your friends against you, and the only way to defeat him lies within the Eagle Doll. But that end part is a little twist for the end of the movie, and I mean really little. For now it's just made to look like the doll's a talisman itself and was used to defeat Phillip, who finally reveals himself to Kris once it's had to be spelled out in skywriting. He plans to bust Satan out of hell by turning the witch's descendant into a vessel, but needs to first convince all her friends to betray her. Having cursed Mike using his family heirloom, the boyfriend now looks like the rotting apple that it was buried with. He tries to jump Phillip but just gets knocked aside as he moves on to Jerry, but he's the most loyalist of friends unless you're a hippie girl named Robin. Refusing to betray the girl that he actually likes, Kris unfortunately still sees him as useful as a bag of sand and is fully willing to ditch him. Since magic has locked the doors, she escapes through a hole in the wall, but Phillip just teleports her back inside like, hey, where you going? The melted candle of a man tries to save his girlfriend but is set on fire and made to disavow Kris in order to make the pain stop. Michael's like, fine, just take the damn woman then, before perishing, so Kris thinks that maybe she should show her only loyal friend some respect. It's too late, as Jerry's now a creep and jumps on his lifelong friend's back, but even a demonic servant of Satan thinks that this is a bit far. We never see the traitorous dry humper again, who was converted, with the footage of Kris saying how useless she finds Jerry. I mean, that isn't really master manipulation either, as she really did say those things, but for some reason she tries to deny the allegations. The little liar gets taken to the sacrificial chamber beneath the house, where she's shown dressed up like a doll for about a second, but we never talk about it. Kris is suddenly just strapped to an altar with the Warlock drawing a little doorway in blood on her chest, as she ain't the only artist in this studio. He then tastes the blood and kisses her on the cheek, which is better than a tongue punch, I suppose, but who really knows if any of this crap's actually part of the ritual. When Phil's about to plunge a ceremonial dagger into Kris's heart, Satan's plans foiled by his decision to buy the cheaper sacrificial straps. Kris breaks free from her restraints, knocking the Warlock away and grabbing a flaming torch, only to give us this awkward little standoff. Phillip just snatches it away, but then struggles to prevent this tiny girl from escaping when he's got the perfect German suplex lined up. She finds the doll, which had been placed outside in case of emergencies, and again it looks like he's scared of the doll itself. He even throws himself backwards into a chocolate mud bath to avoid it, so Kris just straight up bludgeons him in the back of the head. The delicious looking man rises again and almost kills Kris with a simple push, which we already know is this bloodline's weakness. When you see a fancy ceremonial dagger, always test it out on the demon, but unfortunately Kris takes a few tries to realize that this one doesn't work. She recalls the fortune cookie talking about the secret lying within the Eagle Doll and pulls out the knife that Phil was really avoiding this whole time. Kris plunges it into his heart, which reveals the demon's true form, that of an ugly hell pony with a rather pretty looking hairdo. The sinister steed is finally slain and Kris left alone in this house of betrayal, though the creep of a neighbor's still running around somewhere. She doesn't appear too broken up about losing all of her friends and just takes Robin's jewelry and spellbook before leaving. And the movie ends.